Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Ketlin Vieira to defeat Irene Aldana. And I'm here to break down the main event for UFC Fight Night, whatever the fuck. Alex Perez versus Tatsuro Taira. For this fight, I am picking Alex Perez to win. And my official prediction, I guess, is he wins by TKO. But considering I've never seen Tatsuro Taira lose, that's not something I can be sure of. But he is my pick to win, as seeing as he is my pick, I have bet on him because he's an underdog. Right now, he's at plus 155 or plus 154 for some fucking reason. But of course, I see value at that number because he is my pick to win. And I see a little extra value because I know I can always hedge with Tatsuro Taira winning by submission, which, unlike Perez, I'm very sure that's Taira's primary path to victory. And not to say he can't win other ways, but if he wins, if you told me he won this fight, I'd say 90% it's via submission. And that's based not only on the skills of Taira, but the way that Alex Perez has lost. He's been defeated 8 times, 5 of them come via submission. And I'll get into those now. One TKO loss he has, and that's to Joseph Benavidez. That came on the ground in round 1. Benavidez, who was an elite fighter in his day, was too much for Perez, and it was a really big step up for him, his first real big step up in the UFC. And Benavidez just pounced on him, kept him on the ground, stuffed his takedowns, and hammer fisted him until the ref stopped it. His 5 submission losses come to Alexandre Pantoja via neck crank in round 1. Best fighter in the world right now. And Pantoja just charged at him and took his back standing and never let it go. Davison Figueiredo took his neck with a guillotine choke and never let it go. That was also in a minute and a half or so. And that was in November of 2020. Figueiredo is one of the best fighters in the last 5 years, along with Pantoja. And he actually beat Pantoja. And then he lost by submission to Jared Papazian and Adam Antolin in 2016. Those are UFC level fighters. And then this other guy got him out of there in 2011. It may as well have been me. It's fucking meaningless. It was 13 years ago. But yeah, in the last 10 losses, he has been submitted in 10 years. He's been submitted 4 times, but they're to UFC level guys. The thing is, so is Tatsuro Taira, and he's got more going on the ground than most of those guys. He may not be as powerful or as dynamic as somebody like Davison Figueiredo, or as methodical and controlling as somebody like Pantoja. Not that there was anything methodical about his 90-second victory. But Tatsuro Taira has very slick grappling skills, and specifically his submission skills. He's got those. He's got the finishing touch. Perez, his wins, he's got 6 via knockout, 7 via submission, and 12 via decision. So he's won about half his fights via decision, half via finish. But since he's been in the UFC, he's put away most fighters, which it's usually the exact opposite, where your finishes come on the regional scene, and then you hit that next level, and it's time to slow things down against the better athletes. But Perez has gotten a lot of nice finishes since coming to the UFC. Anaconda chokes to kick things off, and of course his last win over Matteo Nicolau, he knocked him out. That was a clean knockout against the cage with a big right hand. He's got power. He's got leg kicks. That's one of his TKO wins against Jussier Formiga, probably his best win. But he chopped that guy down inside of a round, a top 5 fighter. So Perez has shown that danger, and he's theoretically in his prime at age 32, and he's looking sharp. He was out for a while, but he came back against Muhammad Makayev after a 2-year layoff. And even though he lost a decision to Makayev, I was very impressed that he lost to a guy like that without getting submitted. But he did. He survived against Makayev, was able to do well enough defending takedowns, although not well enough to win, and gave him a really, really good fight. And then he rebounded a month and a half later and got in there against Nicolau and knocked him out And now here he is a month and a half later, or even less, and he's getting right back in there against Tatsuro Taira. This has been the spring of Alex Perez, kind of like the summer of George, if you know what that is. Tatsuro Taira, he is 15-0. He has not been defeated, but I'd say that Edgar Chairez fight was pretty close, actually. Close in a 30-26 kind of way, which if you want my official scorecard, I guess that was it. But it was still very close. Chairez had him nearly, I can't say nearly tapping, but he had everybody thinking he might tap in the final seconds of that fight with a guillotine. He kind of dropped him early on with a short left hand. I don't exactly know what happened there, but he definitely had his share of moments in between getting dominated by Tatsuro Taira, especially in round two. Taira, he's just a monster on top. Really good control, excellent jiu-jitsu, passing to the full mount, and of course, taking the back. He's a good back taker, and from there, he's got even better control. He has 15 wins with 4 TKO wins or knockouts, 7 submissions, and just 4 decisions. So submission is typically how he gets it done, and of course we've seen it quite a bit in the UFC. He got Jesus Santos Aguilar out of there with a triangle armbar. I think if Jesus Santos Aguilar had that guillotine on him instead of Edgar Chairez, it could have been a different story. As Edgar Chairez found out when Jesus Santos Aguilar tapped him with a guillotine. But that's beside the point. He also beat CJ Vergara with a round 2 armbar and got the TKO finish over Carlos Hernandez. That was a really impressive victory. Not that I don't think he can do it on the feet, but to see him get it done on the feet in the UFC was extra impressive. On the feet, I think he's going to be a step behind Alex Perez, but I think he's still got shit to offer. He's got really good hands and an excellent kicking game as well. He's comfortable on the back foot, letting you come to him, which really works when you're fighting somebody who isn't such a sophisticated striker. But I think here that pressure from Alex Perez could haunt him. I think he's got to change things up. I don't think he can sit on the back foot and just look to play the matador and hit the beautiful counter shots on Alex Perez. And Perez, he's not just a striker. He brings every sort of threat. Not that he wants to go to the ground with Taira, but trying to take him down when Taira least expects it could be very effective in slowing down the weapons for Tatsuro Taira on the feet. Taira's got excellent counter hooks, deceptively good pop at his punches, but he's got a really good rangy kicking game. And I think that's what I'd expect from him on the feet against Alex Perez. And I think that'll work early on, but over the course of 5 rounds, I don't think it'll work. I think Perez will get in his face and rough him up. Alex Perez has above average power, and I'd say bigger power in this fight. And he's a guy who's pretty damn healthy himself. He's never been knocked out. You know, the one TKO loss, like I said, to Joseph Benavidez, it came on the ground. But on the feet, Perez, he's pretty damn healthy. So I think this is a very compelling fight, a dichotomous fight. I think if Taira is able to get Alex Perez to the ground, he's got a great chance of submitting him. But I think Alex Perez is going to be able to keep this one standing generally, get in the face of Taira, and even on the ground, if he does get taken down or finds himself on the ground with Taira, Perez isn't completely lost. He's submittable, but it's not like he's me in there. He's going to get tapped out in 30 seconds. He's got a lot of skills. I don't know what his jiu-jitsu belt rank is, but it's better than you'd expect. And I think Perez will be able to take away that danger of Taira and then start imposing his danger. And the fight I'm envisioning is a TKO. Let's call it round 3. I don't know, but where he starts taking away the danger of Taira, roughing him up, giving him a fight he's never had to fight before, and he's too much for the 23-year-old. So that is the pick. Alex Perez via TKO, and the bet is Alex Perez. I've also bet on the under, just because I'm fucking stupid, but the under is at plus money, plus 115, set at 2.5 rounds. I think that covers the path to victory for Taira, and also a good chunk of the paths to victory for Alex Perez, which again is my pick. So I'll wait for the props, because I think Taira, if he does win, it is by submission. And as of now, I'm playing Alex Perez. Alex Perez by TKO in round 3 is the prediction. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.